Hanna Tams, Angela, Zein, Miriam, Marhaba, welcome to the podcast Danse, amour. This podcast is about dance and is usually in French, but today we will try to make it in English. Okay? First of all, can you introduce yourself?
So, my name, as you said, Hanna Tams. I'm 29 years old, and I'm a choreographer, dancer, and a teacher as well. I founded the Duban Professional Dance Company and Studio, and I work in Jerusalem in the field of dance and dance healing and working with kids. So this is basically about me.
Zain?
In Arabic or English? Okay, and اسمي زين
My
Saadeh.
name is Zein Saadeh. I'm 24 years old. I'm a dancer from Ramallah, professional Dabke dancer. I teach Dabke, and I'm choreographer in Al Istiqlal band, the band I'm part of.
Okay. أهلا وسهلا.
Hi, I'm Angela Nassar. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Jerusalem. I'm a professional dancer. I studied dance for my bachelor's. And this year I just graduated, so we're out in the world exploring.
Yes.
I'm also a teacher and a choreographer as well.
Okay. And Miriam, we had a podcast about you, but still you can say who you are, because thanks to you, we are all together tonight.
Yes, I'm very happy that finally we managed to bring the dancers here. It was really not easy. We didn't know like 2 weeks before that if they get all the visa or not. And we were kind of not anymore believing. And then suddenly they got the visa. What? And then it was all really stressful, in the last minute. So I'm Miriam Barakar. I'm the choreographer of this project, Last Things Remaining. Mm-hmm. And now sitting here with my wonderful dancers from Palestine. So I'm really like in heaven at the moment. Yes.
So you already did a show in Bern, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
How did the people welcome you?
The people made us continue the show, to be honest. Like their energies, it was so touching for us, first of all, because the show itself, it's really challenging and, like emotional wise, it's really emotional for us with all the situation going on at the moment as well. So being with the audience and how the audience really approached the show during, like, you can feel the energies they're being over there, and even after the show discussing and talking, and also feeling them how much they appreciate the work, how much they appreciate us, how much they appreciate Mariam. So it was like an amazing thing, and we felt from like really like I didn't feel that from really while ago, like being useful for my country, because like we live, me and Angela, in East Jerusalem, and we were like really not able even to raise our voices because we were kind of made silent, and Zain as well being in the West Bank. So we were like really just being at home trying to do something, but we can't. So being over here, sharing our stories about Palestine and about our life with the people made us in a way more useful to our country, and also kind of representing the country in a really nice way that people can really understand that we are humans. We have normal life, we love, we hate, we're passionate. So it was really nice for me, and I think for all of us.
And what is really going on?
Yes.
To really tell them, because I think the main point is that this show is not, it doesn't have been made for the 7th of October. This show was made before. We started 1 year ago, me and Zain. And then slowly we build up all the scenes. So, and we show what before the 7th of October was already happening all the time since many years. So I think this is something that the audience need to understand, that it's not the 7th of October.
Yeah.
It was before
just
the problems,
ongoing.
And there were a lot of tensions, and it got very much worse since the last 20 years.
It's like ongoing thing from even before the 1948, which is all the people and the world know, but it started way before.
Yeah, I think this is so important.
And maybe
to
people
understand.
just like connect now to the 7th of October because this is the last thing, maybe because of the use of social media, they were really able to see. But this kind of thing happened in the 48, and
you never read in the news anything about all the happenings every day in Palestine.
Yes.
You know, and then the 7th of October, and then the people only relate on that date. Because
That's true.
all the things that are happening every day before, you don't hear anything in the news.
No.
But they exist and they are there. So for someone that is traveling to Palestine regularly, it was not a surprise, the 7th of October. How it happened and what happened, it was a surprise for everyone, for all the Palestinians too. But that it happens like an outbreak, it was not surprising.
yeah.
Not at all.
Actually, we talked about it in the last podcast. I asked you how is the daily life for Palestinian people. I mean, we talked about it.
Exactly.
Okay, so yes, we planned this interview in September 2023 for your show in Zurich, Last Thing Remaining. But today we are the 21st of October. The circumstances are very different, of course, and dramatic. Nevertheless, I will mostly ask you questions about dance.
Sure.
And your career also. But then we will see how our conversation will go, because as we said before, I think in Palestine, you cannot separate the art and the
You can separate yourself. It's not only art. It's like everything, because you're living it every day and you need to know how to deal with it every day. So it's part of your life, part who you are. And you just need to be in this kind of thing and adapt to it as much as you can, not to be collapsed at the end.
So, because people in Europe, they love Dabke, I would like to talk about Dabke in general. Let's start with the origin of Dabke in general. And then let's explain why Dabke is so important for the identity preservation of Palestinian people.
هو يعني من زمان ما في تعريف محدد للدبكة شو هي.
Long time ago, there was no specific definition for Dabkeh. Because you're talking about legacy of Levantine region, Jordan, Palestine, Syria, they always share the same legacy. But you can say that it started from the natural lifestyle of people. For example, Palestinians used to build their houses from mud. So when they want to build the ceiling, for example, they were tapping on the mud to make it even. So Dabkeh actually came from the tapping of their feet. They also took some Dabkeh movements from agriculture when they used to harvest their crops. You're actually saying that the movements of Dabkeh are actually inherited, not made up. No, not made up. They're taken from the natural lifestyle. We have some kind of Dabkeh that we call it ad-Dahiyya, or they call it As-Samir al-Falastini, Palestinian As-Samir. The story of this Dabkeh goes back to the days of wars between Arabic tribes, actually, the tribal wars. One of the wars, if I'm saying the right name, the Ban War, it happened between one big tribe and one small one. So the small tribe wanted to intimidate the big one. So they started tapping on the ground with their feet to make dust. And they were using sounds like So with their sounds became like echo that went over the desert and reached the big tribe. So when they heard the sound and saw the dust, they were intimidated because they thought that this is a very huge tribe. Until today, they apply this dance, this Dabkeh, in wedding ceremonies. They switch off the modern technologies like DJs and songs, and they start doing it the very old-fashioned as it was before. This goes for Jordan because they share almost the same culture. They take it from the desert. So this is where ad-Dahiyya Dabkeh came from. There's also some Dabkeh for women, they use their own circle that men are prohibited from joining, but they watch from a distance. This is in Al-Bira city. Where does this Dabkeh exist? In Palestine. In Palestine only, or in Levantine area generally? Well, in Valentine area, but because we are from Palestine, we know it's there. Legacy is actually a very huge topic, but you need someone to search good in it.
So my own perspective, I did my master degree on folklore. So first of all, most of already Zein put it, I think, in a good way. But folklore itself, which is, there is really certain points that folklore usually or moved from place to place. So the Palestinian folklore, or let's say I can't even call it as a Palestinian folklore because it was the great Syrian folklore. So it started as a ritual, as maybe today we see more common thing in Africa. But it started as a ritual for rain, ritual for harvest, ritual for wedding, ritual for fertilization. So it really started as a way of praying and way of connecting to God. So they were always emphasizing on circles, because for them circles is like the shape of the complete as God, and it gives this kind of unity. So Dabkeh started from there, and it's kind of dance folklore. It's now they call it Dabkeh for. We will talk later about that maybe, but it's a dance that really it wasn't for one gender in that period of time. Maybe this is what maybe I will kind of, because women's separation and male separation happened after, but woman and male, because women and male were participating in normal life, and folklore was part of their normal life, and folklore was kind of the mirror of their normal life. So the way they generated Dabkeh, as Zein say, we have al-una, which is they were building normal, and to put stone on stone, then you need mud. So the way to do mud in an efficient way, they need to bring soil, water, and stamp for it for a really long time. So to be able to be entertained and work hard and fast, so they were having chanting person who come and sing, and the flute, and then they will be stomping on the flute. And Dal'una is like helping, and then Dal'una phase was kind of generated. And then you have another story which came from grapes for women, because women were also participating in harvesting and planting and all of this kind of stuff. So to be able to do the grapes or the wine, they also was kind of collecting grapes and start stamping on it, and also this kind of light, heavy movement in a way, light with the hands and with the upper body, and heavy on the, because Palestinian women are not light. The Palestinian Dabkeh, we will maybe put an introduction after, but it's really rusty, simple, rusty, and heavy. It's really different from Lebanese Dabkeh, and we will say why. So it was kind of the culture that was in all Syrian place, and you can see many articles that have been written from Orientalism, or people who came to the Orient to discover it. So Dabkeh was introduced as an entertainment show for them. So they will go to the villages will welcome them by dancing together, and they were kind of putting everything in their papers. And if you go to the 18th century, which is let's say the early paper that was published, and it's in my hand, I can bring you the name if you like, that he kind of wrote like a full entertaining show about how her name is Lauren, and she came to the Syrian region, and she dated every note about how they were dancing together, what they were having hands, the lines, the circles, everything. And then after the 18th century, let's say, all the movement, first of all, you have Balfour, and you have all this kind of Balfour Plumbers who started, separating areas. This is one. And also you have many religious movement who came to the origin. And this religion movement really eliminate many movement and eliminate maybe many parts, especially for women. So we have kind of the funeral dance for women, which we call it in Nadabat, which they will do kind of, now we do it only by voice, like she will be kind of saying nice things about the one who's, died. but before they were kind of, it's as Sufi.
Yeah.
So they will be like hitting, but this is not anymore. Like we can imagine it, but there is no like data about this because it was really eliminated completely. And the role of the woman really shifted from an equal role of man to almost no role. And as Zein said, it has her own separate parties. So the woman will be like really by themselves and the man will be by themselves. And the thing that will be shown is man stuff, not woman stuff. Women will be really in the houses. They may dance. The male will be dancing. But if someone come from outside to see, that will be the male. And this kind of thing really happened by religion because let's say the Greek Syria and Palestine itself, it wasn't a place of this kind of really conservative religion. So then you have, if not, I don't want to stop about talking. So if you go more and more to the 1948, so Dabke here had another context and another meaning. So it started, as we said, as a ritual, and then it developed between let's say the last notes, which is the 19th century till the 20th century. It was more agricultural. So as Zein said, it was really inspired from their daily life of planting, daily life of harvesting, praying for rain, doing weddings, these kind of stuff. And then in the 1948, Dabke really pointed out a new method, which was like, we have the community, which is the Arab or Pan-Arab or the Arab community. They gather together and they, take the decision that Palestine is being, occupied and whatever. And we need to do something that all the Arabs will feel as united again in a way. So they went to Widat Hajar Haddad. She's a Palestinian who lived in Lebanon as an exile. And she was married to Marwan Hajjar. And they talked to Widad. Widad was a rich family, and as we know, all folklore was really developed in urban, in the middle, lower level, not in rich families at all. So her father have many, lands in Haifa, and she was always with the farmers. So she learned from them, and then the Pan-Arab called her, and we need to do a Palestinian, let's say not Palestinian, an Arab dance that all the Arabs can feel related to. Then Baalbek festival started, and Baalbek dance, it wasn't Lebanon. It was because it was generated in Baalbek, because Widat Hajar Haddad bring the Dabke stuff. She was also studying in Bolshoi dance and bring all the Western kind of influence of the theater and put Dabke on the theater for the first time in Baalbek festival. And Baalbek festival was the product of the Pan-Arab movement. So all the Arabs from all over the world, when there is Baalbek festival, which Sabah, Fairuz, all these great or legend people came, they came and see, and they were feeling really unified, that we Arab are kind of unified. And then this kind of Egypt that started having this kind of influence, that they started having Dabke movements, and same as Morocco, same as Tunisia, they started to be unified. But the story didn't end right, because in the 1967, we have the Sixth War, which Israel or the occupiers decided to close Palestine as full and let no Arab visitors to come into Palestine. And then also one of the other products of the Pan-Arab movement was Ramallah Nights, which was cancelled completely in the 1967. Was also part of they will do it in Baalbek, they will do it in Palestine, they will do it in Egypt.
It was also like a festival.
It's a festival that bring all the Arabs together and be unified as a folklore and the language and all that kind of stuff. So in the 1967, it was really pity not having any guests, and as well it was an opportunity. So the Palestinians have no guests. Widat Hajar Haddad wasn't able to come back again and do anything because she was in exile in Beirut. So here we have the first Palestinian movement that was generated under a Dabke that is having a pure Palestinian identity. It was in the 1967. Many groups has participated in that because they wanted to do something that unify the people inside Palestine. Because the people inside Palestine, some of them were in exile first, some of them were immigrated from, let's say, Haifa to Jerusalem, or from Jerusalem to Nazareth. Everything was a chaos, and people were losing this kind of bands between each other, because we Palestinians, every village have a symbol. You can find it in her embroidery. You can find it in the way of living. Like the agriculture in Haifa, it's totally different than the agriculture in Jerusalem, and the culture as well, because Jerusalem people were so rich. The people who live, let's say, in Gaza, they are medium, you know. So culture was different, and some people who live in the valley, their job was farming. In Jerusalem, it's trading. So it's totally different. So this kind of chaos really brought all the thinkers in Palestine to a way that we need to think to unify all people under one thing, which was Dabkeh again. So they put Dabkeh under an Palestinian identity. And here the Dabkeh wasn't anymore any agricultural or a presentation. It was the leap of freedom. It was the stomp of that's my land. It was like all this kind of thing moved from a nice Dabkeh dancer, or really, you know, like not soft, it's kind of elegant Dabkeh dancer, which come from the Dabkeh and the Bolshoi influence and everything, to a really rigid, to a really raw, simple, rusty Dabkeh dancer. And everything changed. Like the gesture of the pomegranate, which represent fertility, it changed into fist, which represent resistance. The standing that having really high, tall man, now it come more plié man under, because he's a warrior, he's a fighter. He's not anymore, you know, I'm this nice, elegant guy, tall guy. So everything really shifted in this period. And then you have many groups as Fanakish, you have El Funun, you have Ghassan Kanafani. Even Ghassan Kanafani was before El Funun. This kind of was really destroyed by the occupation, this kind of group, which was in Bethlehem. But all this kind of thing took really a stand. And also, amazing thing happened in Palestine. And I think it really make the Palestinian more strong in this kind of period was the role of the woman. Because as we said before, the role of the woman was really eliminating slowly. But bringing back the 1967 revolution, women took an important role more than a man. In the 1967, the man was destroyed, frustrated. They lost the war 6 that they thought it was the best war ever, because they have Egypt army, Iraqi army, Syria army, Lebanon army, Jordan, and all of these countries just failed them. So they went and lost part of their dignity and started working in the industrial, which is an Israeli, the occupiers. They started to work for the occupiers to bring money. Okay. And then the woman said, okay, I'm standing. I'm keeping my house. I'm not leaving the house. I'm keeping my children. I'm educating them. And also, women participated in the revolutionary, such as Layla Khaled, Dalal al-Mughrabi. So all of these kind of superwomen, you know, changed all the idea of Palestine in that moment. So nobody, even religious people, they weren't able to stop the woman of being there and participating and standing strong. And this kind of role shifted into dance. So woman was again equal to men in dancing. You will see Rawithe, which is also a leader in Dabkeh, which was a role only for man. Now you feel it. Women can do it, men can do it, and you can see like women are participating as men. They are one line. You will find man and a woman, not only men. On the same stage. Yes. So everything shifted. And this is because of that the woman she said, I want to take a stand, I want to protect. Because if she left the home, the Palestinians really have nothing at that moment. And this really, the Palestinians really appreciate. And that's why we say Palestinian women are really like strong women. Because they stand, like what Layla Khaled done, nobody of the men were able to do it. You know, like Al-Mughrabi as well, like they sacrificed their lives for the Palestinian case, and they put everything they can. So they are for us a legends. And this has really influenced our Dabkeh till today. And now Dabkeh moved today into from an identity kind of form into more not presentational form, but it's resisting form, and it is putting Palestine identity as protecting, as you said. Which is, for me, it's a good point and not good point, because first of all, it really keeps the Palestinian folklore really protected from any source, outside source, and especially the occupiers, because they are trying to destroy all your heritage and all your folklore and say, oh, they have nothing. It was camels before. It was desert. Palestine never was a desert. Let's start from there, because it's a really fertilized soil and it has really different communities who came from it from the 3rd century. The Armenians who worked there for, hundreds of years, and they built the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Armenians, all the decoration on the Aqsa Mosque was decorated and put in together by Armenians, as well as the African community, as well as the, Gypsy community. The Palestinians themselves, they had theaters. We have all the ideas of cities. So we would never be, let's say, only farmers. You have stuff. So this kind of thing, what I believe, protect, having the Palestinian folklore and being it under an identity, it really protect everything. But at the same point, which is we suffer now as teachers maybe, and as a choreographers, understanding folklore. Because folklore, from my study and from what I understand, it has two nature, and it can't move without that two nature. It has a dynamic nature which need to be developed every time to suit every generation is coming, and at the same time it have the fixed. So the fixed which we inherited from our ancestors. So if these two doesn't move together, the folklore would move into fixed fossil, it's really a rock that you can put in a museum and that's it. So to be able to make the generations or the coming generations, like my grandson or whatever, to really adapt, they really need to be a mirror of their daily life. And this is what we need to do as Palestinians, and maybe me and Zein, because we both work in Dabke, are trying to do. It's not taking the folklore and putting it in a contemporary way, but we are just adding more about our issues, our daily issues today, not before, like my grandfather issue. And also developing the movement to be, the new bodies, the how our bodies are dealing day to day. It's more effective, So it's like learning more about the new generation and make this kind of balance between dynamic, which is also shouldn't be too much, and fix as well, not going too back. So we really need to have this kind of balance. And but for Palestinians, I totally get that we are trying to protect, because so many things was taken from us and put in under other names, such as al-hummus, tabbouleh, or like the Lebanese, they take the tabbouleh thing from them. They said the tabbouleh is an Israeli product, however, it's from ancient time, fattoush, musakhan, all of these kind of things that we are proud of, and it was created. Kubbe, like everything, they are taking even our embroidery dress. Now they call it, and that's why like the Palestinians really insist, like before 1 year, to put the embroidery as a heritage, as Palestinian heritage, because the Israelis used it to say, oh, this is ours. However, they don't understand anything, because every color in the embroidery and every small symbol represent a village, represent a state of the woman, represent how if the woman want to get married or don't want to get married, if the woman come from a high state family or low state family. Like the dress was a moving identity. It
has a meaning.
Definitely. Nothing in Palestine, I believe every folklore in the world, if you go deeply in its root, have a really bigger meaning that what is now, Maybe for us it's a nice cup, but before, when they created this kind of thing, they have it to solve a problem that they had in this period. And that's why, like jarra, that we drink water from it. It's not a nice way of doing it, but they do it in a way to keep the water really cold. That's why they use this kind of elements, and they use this kind of shape. And same with the point of drinking. So everything was done for a reason, but we need really to search, because it has never been rooted. And this is what I'm blaming me, and I'm blaming everyone in Palestine, that we never wrote. And that's why I started doing my research, because when I do Dabke, I just do Dabke. I never understand why I do it, or what's the movement meaning, or whatever. It's, we'll do taxi, we'll do inzal, we'll do wahda knows, perfect. But we don't know the history behind. And that's why I decided to do my research, and I want to keep going, because when I started doing my research, I was impressed and also in a surprise of how Palestinian folklore is really deep and how really it developed. It wasn't that 100 years ago. Yeah, so.
Do you think about writing a book or?
I already write a big study about it that was published in English and I think in French in my Liverpool University. And now I'm translating into Arabic and I'm doing a kids book. So it's more to keep our identities because even our history is kind of now manipulated and occupiers are trying to make a brainwash, especially for the new generation. So I'm trying to do a kind of caricature book that really put the Dabke and its story in a way that they can all relate as Heidi, Swiss story. Heidi, yeah.
Swiss little girl.
Yes, so to have, let's say, Maryam as a little girl talking the Dabke story, or having Muhammad or Zain or Isa talking about Palestinian Dabke and how it really developed. So this is a dream for me, and hopefully one day I can do it.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I think you did the hardest part with
Yes,
the
yes,
research.
yes.
So now you just have to put all the result of the research.
And hopefully also I can continue because like I was open to do a PhD after I finished I had an offer to do it in the Dutch King University, but it will really take time, but it is a study of all the region folklore, which is Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine and Egypt in really specific ways. So it's a passion for me, to be honest, and I didn't recognize it until I really started research. Yeah, because I hate reading, by the way.
He hates reading. All of that.
But I think you have to, because for us, for example, Western dancers, when we want to, where we are looking for information about folklore, it's hard for us to find something from people from the culture. It
was hard for me
from the Western people, but people from the culture.
It was even impossible for me, to be honest. Like I had 7 articles who was published by Lauren, who is a scholar from Europe who came in the 19th century over here, and then some small Arabic scholars who were here as well, and we have Ashraf Kanani, which is an historical anthropological teacher and researcher who I met personally before he's still alive but not really well. And also there are another Abdul Rahman who passed away maybe 20 years ago, who wrote like really bits and pieces. Like Ashraf Kanani, his field is like writing legend books. So he was like studying the tales of Palestine or the Great Syria. But he really had much information. So I started from them and then moved into people who practice Dabke, such as Khalid Qatamish, who are now the artistic leader of the Popular Art Center or the group troupe. Khalid Rami Khader from Diyar. I also went to the north with Akram. I studied like really different groups and different influences, and also I went into weddings and into like people, but it's all word of mouth. You need always to record. There is nothing written, and this is the pity about it.
Yeah, you will change it.
Hopefully.
So you said you're a teacher.
Yeah.
Of course you teach Dabke. Are they mostly boys, girls, or a mix, your students?
I think every one of us have different things. I teach in Nazareth. I teach in Jerusalem and the Old City. And also I teach a bit in Bethlehem. So it depends really on the region. So if you look at Jerusalem itself, now the people who are, if you want to say as percent, you will have 70% women and 30% men, and sometimes it's even less. Because in the moment, and I'm really happy that Dabke is slowly changing, but at the moment we are having many stereotypes about dance, that it's not for boys, I think it's stereotyping all over the world. So, but as I said, Dabkeh was taken, especially in the 1967, it was taken as a revolutionary.
Yeah.
So you will have boys and girls, like everyone was taught Dabkeh. And even me, like it was, oh, go, like you should go. It's not that I don't want. But now everything is changing, and now Dabkeh get back to this because people are taking it as a resistance or as a stand with their community. So yeah, like it depends really on the group. In the old city, I have kind of balanced because I'm teaching in schools and I'm teaching kids with. It's for me, I use it as a place of healing. I use this kind of Dabkeh because I want to navigate these kids or guide them into their identity that they don't know anymore because their parents are not aware or the school can't go really political in school at the moment, especially in East Jerusalem. So I'm using Dabkeh as a form of informing and raising awareness and really giving them the root of their identity in a way. So we have kind of half and half. And then Nazareth, it's kind of also like more women. But maybe in Ramallah, it's different story, I believe. I know like some groups really have bunch of men, but it really depends. So.
But you go as well to the villages to teach, no?
Yes, I go to the village.
So maybe you can tell her a bit about your experience.
بالنسبة للقرى بيختلف.
Villages are different from cities. Just like Hanna said, religion in Palestine is very important and affecting topic. Some villages accept mixed bands like boys and girls training together, but some other the villages, they don't accept that. So boys and girls have no choice but to train on Dabkeh separately. In general, in Ramallah and most Palestinian bands, there is a huge shortage in boys. For example, if we have a band that is 40 people, 30 would be girls and only 10 would be boys. And this is very strange and complicated thing to understand. If you ask boys, what would you like to do for fun in school? They will definitely choose football, while girls choose Dabkeh or ballet. But things are changing. Some schools now, they list Dabkeh as a subject, as a curriculum in the school, and you don't pass the school actually before passing this subject. It's a subject with exam and a grade, and you have to prepare and study, and there is a teacher that supervises your performance. And as Dabkeh teachers, we try to tell the students that this is not a waste of time, and it's not just for fun. It's actually another way to resist and maintain your legacy. This is actually part of the media war. For example, the current war in Gaza. There is this media war when two sides are broadcasting different news. For example, the Israeli side broadcasts news to Europe and America, and they actually believe them. Even these news are nothing but lies. But if these people listen to the other side, to the Palestinian side, they will discover some aspects. They will discover the other side of this war. In our land, there were some events and incidents that really can be classified as legendary. But no one knew about them because of this media war. So it's important to win this media war so we protect our legacy from vanishing. Because of this media war, there is a stealing to the legacy. For example, the Israeli side is stealing the fashion, the clothes fashion, the Dabkeh movement, even songs. For example, there is a very famous song for Muhammad Assaf, which is my blood is Palestinian, and Adami Palestini, and that was mocked in Israeli, and they made another song like my blood is Israeli and Adami Israeli.
فصفة النهاية ترى
they are taking the lyrics, they are taking the rhythm and put it in a new application and put it into the audience, which is horrible. And I want to add, like, once my uncle tell me like really an amazing quote. He said, I will say it in Arabic and maybe translate after. He said, الأقوياء هم اللي يكتبون الرواية. who wins or the victory people who they always write their stories. So always the story which is written in history is written by the winners. So you have always other perspectives and other stories that was buried in a way. And that's what's happened with the Palestinians, I believe. Like most of our stories, and it's buried, and the people and the Western, and I don't want to say Western, it's all over the world. They are saying only a small part, because Palestine is not only war. Like, yeah, there is like occupation since ever, it's not a new thing. But we have also like other, like we have other side of our life, which is completely hard. And what Zein said as before as well, saying about schools. Now, the only way for the school to make sure that their kids or their students know about Palestine is through doing something creative that the occupiers are not really looking. So some of them are using, we will do a dance class. They will call it dance class, but it will be Dabke class.
Dabke class.
And then the kids will start, understanding about Dabke and understanding about their history. And also other schools do kind of be in the old city and go and see sites. But seeing the sites and knowing the original story of this sites, not the fake story, because now everything is related into the Israeli history, which it should only be in the 1948. This is the Israeli history, because it was a land, or it was a country that was made in the 1945. But however, the Holy Sepulchre or the Aqsa Mosque was way before. But they are still like saying, this was, it was waiting for them. And this is like the horrible part of it. But yeah, like we are trying as much as we can to protect and to keep it going, because the moment that we will stop, and same as having this opportunity with Maryam, like the moment that anything stops, I think it will freeze everything, and we will put, because I'm just keep adding. I think for male dancers, the situation in Palestine, all the historical Palestine I'm talking about, it's not easy. You need to work 3-4 kind of jobs to be able to earn the money, and they will put you all the way of thinking of how to live in dignity in a way at the same time, and how hard life can be. So first of all, if you want to work, you need to go to your job. Going to your job, it may, like the normal way will take normally half an hour, it will take 4 hours. So they will make your life horrible. And they will make you suffer, so you really don't think about extra things. So many of my dancers, like they will grow in my company for, let's say, 10 years or 7 years. But the moment they arrive into the age of 18, they can't continue anymore. They want money. They need to make money to be able to live. A male can't live under his family after 18. He need to be, he need to take, even women. But with male is more influence, because the parents will be starting pushing him. So it will be it's hard. I can understand that he may come for one class, but he can't, committed for three classes in a week, because he will be working really from the early in the morning, and he will finish work at 6-7. He will be dying, being at checkpoint for 2 hours, and being interrogated every time he passed checkpoints, or being in the traffic or whatever. So it's really complicated, and we always was treated less. So even in work, if let's say I'm talking about the other side, they will take a full normal price, we will take way less, because we're, according to their categories, we're always under. And the Palestinians are, in their kind of view, they are cheaper, they work in cheaper, because they need work, because really to be able to live, we're not supported by anyone. And this is the story that you always have problems with men, which is, I totally understand, I want to change, but it's hard. It's really for me, my parents didn't believe that I can do a career from dancing, Dabkeh, contemporary, whatever. But I did, and I was lucky. It wasn't because, you can. I don't want to say it's horrible, but being in this field for 20 years, maybe if I was in other place, maybe it will be much easier. But I was struggling, everything you need to do, it will take you forever. However, it gave me, I learned to be patient. I learned so many stuff from it. But it's hard. You're not only facing the occupier, you're facing the community, you're facing everything. It's you're not a warrior at that moment, it's a problem.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah.
مش بالضرورة الكل يفهم نفس العمق.
Well, they are kids and they don't necessarily understand it in this depth. But I used to tell my students in my very first class, we need to learn the past so we live our present and understand our future. Without a past, we can't live the present or think about the future. It's my way to tell them that Dabkeh is not just for fun. Because, they are kids and they're subconscious. They see us use Dabkeh in celebrations and ceremonies and graduations and weddings. But our people, they have their own expressions, performances, movements in times of joy and in times of sorrow. For example, when someone dies, women hit themselves or wail really hard. So just like Hanna said, our legacy is very hard to interpret on a theater because of the huge amount of feelings that you need to submit to people, to audience, I mean. My grandmother is 90 years old, and I once saw her hit herself and wail really hard. And I could understand how someone can be so sad to do this because he or she lost someone. How can she be sad that she says spontaneous poetry that she herself cannot repeat? It's so spontaneous. So nowadays, we try to make our kids watch Dabkeh in all events, ceremonies, weddings, graduations. And the good thing is that many schools started changing their point of view regarding Dabkeh. Some schools listed Dabkeh in the curriculum, and some schools prepared something for the end-of-year ceremony, like bringing Dabkeh trainer to train some students so they participate in the end-of-year ceremony by performing Dabkeh. So Dabkeh now is part of culture, part of education, and this is something that is really amazing.
Hello, so I have my transition now. I know you have this identity question in your Dabkeh, but I would like to ask if is Dabkeh for young Palestinian people a bit old-fashioned? If I make a parallel with Lebanon, where I learned Dabkeh. In Lebanon, it's very rare to see young people dancing Dabkeh, especially in the big cities. For them, it's very old-fashioned and a bit cliché. Is it the same as Palestine, or the question of identity takes
Well, when it comes to talking about old-fashioned Dabkeh, I believe that we need to renew our legacy, but even this renewal must be built on basics and rules. For example, before I teach a kid how to do ballet, I need to make him understand his old traditional legacy. Then after that, I can teach him new things. So I'm with renewal, but we need to be careful while doing it. Recently, European culture and other cultures became more open to watch and enjoy Dabkeh. And one of my friends called Zaid, he managed to come up with a mixture of African dance and Palestinian Dabkeh. He called it Afro Dabkeh. The Afro Dabkeh is a combination of pure traditional Palestinian Dabkeh and pure traditional African dance, because both communities and culture are really close and they have the same agriculture lifestyle. And you can apply the same combination of Palestinian music and African music. But African movements may be a bit faster, but you can apply fast Palestinian music to the fast African movements. The most important thing is to be aware of your traditional Dabkeh basics and rules before mixing it with any new movements of any other culture. I have seen a mixture between Dabke and ballet, and honestly, I didn't like it because people were watching which movement is the better, which movement is the more beautiful. But actually, when you do this mixture, you need to concentrate on the idea itself, not how the dance looks like. Some of the oldest bands in Palestine, like traditional arts bands and Palestine bands, are currently renewing their Dabka legacy, renewing the movements, but without going really far from the original. I can I can renew the movements. I can make the movements more creative without damaging my own Dabka legacy, and the mixture will look really beautiful and really meaningful.
حركاتي انا الفلسطينيه من هون بيطلع ميكس كثير حلو. فموضوع التجديد مطلوب جدا في الدبكة جدا.
Okay. Should I add?
No, wait.
Angela wants to say something.
No, it would be interesting for me because she did professional dance formation in contemporary dance. And this question, how is it seen from the point of view of professional dancers? As you're Palestinian, how before now you danced Dabke with us. Honestly, how it was for you? Was it a dance interesting for you or less? This would be interesting for me to know.
Me, originally, I'm not a Dabke dancer, but of course I'm a Palestinian, so I know Dabke. It's like in our blood. We do, as they said, we do it everywhere in graduations and parties and weddings. So I had the Dabke classes like for a few months that like intensive. But it just, I love doing it in weddings, but it's hard for me sometimes to perform it, not like on stage. I don't, I feel like I represent myself. I can tell my story more in contemporary, like to move more my body, like the way I feel. But in weddings, like you'll always see me like, let's do Dabke, let's do that. So I don't feel like it's old fashioned, like people would look at Dabke like, oh, you're boring, you do Dabke. No, it's like our thing. It's in our blood. We love it. We enjoy it. We love it. I love doing it. Yani. Even though I'm not a professional Dabke dancer, but it's my blood. It's in me. Yeah.
Yeah, if I want to add something, and maybe I say it before, it was that, as I said, like at the moment in Palestine, we are struggling between people who are refusing to move one step more and with people who are kind of moving. So it depends really on how you see it and who's interested. Because for me, if Dabke stayed as it is, I'm sure in the couple of coming the next century, I don't believe anyone will use it because it won't look like us and it won't help us. Maybe we will have it as you said, identity, which is really strong, but I think we will find another way of putting our identity. I believe every generation they have. But as Zein said, that at the moment we're all trying to be creative. We're trying to add, to make Dabke, because Dabke is contained from 24 movement or 26 movement or 32 movements. Like it's the same movements, but people have more names for it. So it's 32 or 28 or 26 or 24. So this is it. You have a folklore that is composed of these kind of thing. So if you want really, even for people, I don't believe that people at the moment will go and see one show 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times done by 3 other companies with the same movements. So if we want to be really creative, we need. And this is put, not me, because also one of the things one of my friends said, which was really interesting while I doing the interview, he said the moment that any dance is put in, folklore dance is put in on stage, it's not anymore folklore. Because you're taking its origin, which is streets, and you're putting it into a kind of formations, light design, costume design. Everything is kind of not spontaneous, and especially Dabke, Palestinian Dabke, it's spontaneous. You have one leader who will say the movement before 1 second, and you all need to move with them. So it is moving part of what Dabke is. And for me, it's also important to take this as already we moved, even if there are many groups who say we can't move. And for me, it's a pity, because if you don't move, I believe that the audience will lose this kind of contact, because Dabkeh on stage inspires. Like I started maybe as Zain's referred to me. I mixed kind of. I started as a contemporary company, and then I moved and mixed contemporary and Dabkeh and like several styles together, but taking into consideration the creativity of composing. So I took the origin of the Dabkeh movement and tried to compose it with different formations, with different directions, and really manipulate it. So if some people call it not Dabkeh, I totally respect, but what I put on stage is already not Dabkeh, because Dabkeh should be really spontaneous.
Because it's on stage.
Yes, but at the same moment, I am anyone who come to watch whatever I'm doing, like, because then I added Dabkeh into Oriental. Mariam came and do peace with us. And then we do African Dabkeh, which is Cameroonian African mixed with Dabkeh. And then we do flamenco or gypsy Dabkeh. And then Armenian Dabkeh. It is a full show. We have a full broadcast about it's really hard to talk about, because it was talking about how humans, we are related and we need to be unified. And how now the occupation is trying to divide us into religious, racist, whatever. So yeah, going there, you will find how cultures are really common, and as the moment that you understand your culture and understand the movement, you can really develop it. But the important thing is understanding. You can't do taxi and develop taxi without understanding that taxi is related to this Dabkeh family and it is generated because of this kind of thing. So you really need to understand. The moment you understand, you really can develop. This is the basic thing. And yeah.
بقدر أضيف كمان إشي على اللي حكاه عن حنا إنه
I may contribute to what Hanna just said, that street Dabkeh is completely different from theater Dabkeh. Even they are performed by same people, same movements, and same style. Street Dabkeh happens in wedding ceremonies. We call it a guy's gathering or bachelor party, and it's different from theater, because in theater you are restrained by all these lights and coordination and space. And there are about 20 to 50 dancers, and they all must appear in the same rhythm. So if you're a good dancer, you have to lower your performance so you match the average performance of all people.
But still, like the Dabkeh with on the streets is done for Dabkeh, for enjoyment. On theater, for me, or what I do, it's done for the meaning. Like whatever we do, even if we do Dabkeh or we do contemporary or we do any style, it should have a way deeper meaning for the audience, because I do dance in my life for changing. I don't do dance or Dabkeh for entertaining. Like my company and me, and even our work with Mariam, like for me, I did it because Mariam has so deep, like thing that she want to convince or say to the audience. And for me, it give me another, okay, after I saw Mariam piece, okay, there is question in my head. And this is the most important thing. I can't change everyone. But if just give me the idea or give me the opportunity to ask one question, that means that I'm thinking. And when you're thinking, you're right. So for me, doing on stage is really important. Streets is streets. It's amazing. The vibes, the energy. But on theater, for me, it's the, like a platform that I really can challenge everything. I can really challenge the community, because me starting as Duban, doing whatever we did, it was the community didn't even understand it and didn't relate to it, and they started, no, we don't like. But the moment they start getting used to it and understand that it has a deeper meaning, deeper Palestinian meaning, it changed completely. And they started, you can see every show they are more realizing, more understanding, more discussing with us, which was the beauty of it. Yeah.
Dabkeh shows in theaters are extremely important because they are designed to send a message or to clarify a cultural idea, while street Dabkeh is completely different. When foreigners watch our street Dabkeh, the most important question that they ask, Are these dancers sober?
بيصير شغلات مش متوقعة وصعب تنعاد.
We tell them, of course they are. This is a wedding ceremony, and they are just practicing their adrenaline rush. Everyone is happy, and no one is here to judge anyone else.
وريناها سهرات عنا في
We made Maryam watch one of these Dabke, street Dabke shows, and dancers start smashing chairs, and she asked the very same question: Are they sober? And we answered the same: Yes, they are, but they are happy, and this is how they express it.
Point in the show almost without breaking the chairs though.
ده
but-
شيء part of Cesar.
Oh my God.
So you teach dance to kids, and while preparing the interview, I read that it's very challenging for you, maybe all of you, because you deal with kids that live in a context of violence and oppression.
Yeah.
And as a consequence, they have a lot of behavior problems. What I found interesting is that those behavior problems depend on what part of Jerusalem these kids are from.
Yeah.
Can you talk about this specific aspect of your teaching?
Okay, so I teach, as I said, I have my studio in the normal side of Jerusalem, which is east, but it's kind of, like, let's say people not living in the oppression part of the East Jerusalem. The oppression part of East Jerusalem is the old city itself, because in the old city, first of all, the occupiers are really trying to take it over in every way. So first of all, they are trying to control who go in the old city and who go out, what go in, what organizations are open in the old city, how they put drug inside the old city so people can use and get addicted. They are putting so many stuff inside which are really breaking the community in a way, and they are really successing, which is horrible. But I got the idea when I started teaching in the school, because I this certain age in school usually I don't take, because I prefer to work with more mature, let's say, but for me, when I went there, something touched me, because I felt they have so much energy, they have so much potential, but nobody cares, and they have no organization, and they have nobody to take care of them and give them this kind of hope, let's say, because they really go for school for nothing. They know that they will end up being a drug abuser or being whatever, because their parents are like this in a way. And they are seeing, like, when I did this more research about like the people I teach, I discovered that they have less than 20 centimeters to play. Who can play in 20 centimeters in the old city unless they will be in streets? And in streets, that mean that you will see every day a military guy who comes and having the M16 on him, and maybe pointed on the kid, or maybe pointed on anyone in the street. And like seeing this kind of event and arriving to a place that is normal, which is not normal at all. Putting the kids in a really hard situation, which is hard to communicate with them, or hard to connect, or that especially men, they need to act as, men, which is, they are not like that. But they need to be this kind of overprotective person, which some of the part that it's not him anymore, and it's not his identity, and it's not who they are. So this is really sad. And that's the idea came, that I want to add this kind of thing inside the school, and we want to work, and I don't want to say myself as a healer, but I really use it as a dance therapy for them. And I saw so much, like, I never ever taught in my life this age of kids and have these results. Like, some kids are in the first grade and they are doing most of what elder Dabke dancers are not able to do, because they just believe and they are happy that someone cares about them, someone is giving them, it's not only me. I have bunch of stuff working with me, but it's like they give them hope, and they are, some of them are coming now to the school, being open for more dance, more styles, and wanted to go on stage and wanted to represent, and they are inspiring each other. So for me, it's like, I don't know, it's for me other mean of what I need to do, and it's greater mean. and in addition to everything, you know, like the theater or whatever, but this specific, it really touched my soul in a really different way. And I feel me as Palestinian, my duty is to do that at the moment. So
I would like to open a topic that is very important in Arabic countries. We talked about it already. How the society sees dance. Some parents don't want their kids to dance, and people who want to dance get stigmatized, ridiculed, or dismissed by their own families. Yourself, Hanna, you have been bullied, I think, because of your love for dancing.
yes,
But I think, Angela, you want to talk about
Angela,
it.
she can talk.
Yeah, I think each one of us has a different point of view and different experience. But it's me as a professional dancer, as like someone who studied dance in the university. Like when I go out and talk to people, like, "Yo, what do you do in your life?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a dancer," and they'd be like, "Ha ha 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 ha! You're a dancer? What do you do? Like what? Like what is that?" But that was like in the beginning, like in my first years of like my first year and the second year. But right now, like coming out and talking, like I can see more people are being accepting, and they're like, "Wow, amazing! You're a dancer! Like where? Show us! Give me videos! I want to see!" Like people are being more open. This community are being more like, "Okay, this is interesting. Art is really like art is growing more in our country." And on the other side, like also our parents, in the beginning, it's not about, for me, maybe personally, it's not about like, no, don't dance or because dance is wrong or anything, but like they know in our country, maybe we don't have enough jobs to be as a dancer. They wanted me to know, like to be safe, not like, no, you're not allowed to dance, this is wrong or something.
Especially if you want to do it as a profession.
Yeah, exactly. Like my parents actually supported me fully, but like I didn't have any kind of problems from my parents, like, no, don't dance. They were like, even my mom was like, yeah, you can go continue dance therapy and everything, like do it. Like, yeah, it was very supportive. But I can also understand this other side where they don't like the community doesn't accept men to dance. They like have the stereotype that no, dancing is only for girls. But also like I feel more and more kids are becoming like I think at Duban studio, like there are some little boys that not only in Dabke, but like in the summer camps there I taught 2 boys, which is for me it was amazing. I loved seeing them, like they're becoming more people, more accepting people about this. So I think I have hope.
I think another problem is the market. I mean, if you want to have professional dancers, they need to have work. And there is no market. And this is a huge problem because the market would be the occupier's land. And there is a market for dancers.
Yes.
But who wants to go to work there? No one. And this is a huge problem because in Palestine, as Hanna already said, it's a problem because when you get older, you need to make money.
Exactly.
To work and this was as well a problem to find dancers in Palestine because they cannot invest a lot of time in rehearsing. For most of them, it was a problem to rehearse 6 hours every day.
Of course.
And because they have work, they study at university or they have other things to do. So this is as well a huge problem that there is no market for dance.
Yeah.
And so a project like this can be as well a big opportunity for dancers who want to intensify or develop their own language to participate.
So Hanna, your dance studio is located close to the separation wall.
Yes.
You say, I quote you, "There is beauty in knowing that in such a difficult city, there is still space for those who cannot travel or leave the country, to find ways to express themselves through dance. Even at this location, right next to a separation wall, there is freedom." But how being so close to this wall is challenging for you? And what struggle do you have on a daily basis?
So, first of all, the funny part of it, it's a safe. So let's start from there. It's a separation wall, which is really unsafe space, and Duban is a safe space. So it's really, this kind of contrast. You just from the window of the studio, you see the separation wall and you see people jumping from it to go to their work. Because like if they don't have permission, they need to go to work because they have families. So you just literally see people jumping and breaking bones or whatever.
Some people, they take the risk.
The risk to jump. Yes. So it's really like, and also it's you will see, because there is a door for the west, for the separation wall. So it's all the time military around you. So it's really unsafe area. But we build in this unsafe area, we build a studio that we call it really safe. Safe in different perspectives. Safe of, first of all, freedom. Safe of telling and asking for what you want. Safe of being you without any categorizing. Safe of doing what you love. And when I grew up, I didn't have this luxurious thing. I was, first of all, closing the door to be able to dance because nobody can see me, even my family. And I was able to do Dabke. This is the only thing they accepting it.
Yeah.
But I had always love for contemporary and for ballet, and I wanted to do. My sister was doing it, but I never
Had
can.
the right to.
So this is what I'm trying to do, and with what I'm trying to create. First of all, a safe space that really can have everyone, no matter your religion, no matter your gender, no matter what you believe in. You can just come and dance and be who you are and share with all this kind of community who you are and be proud of it. And also this kind of thing is putting you also on stage. So it's not only you come and dance, but also we're developing you and also provide you with really high quality education of dance, which is really necessary in Palestine because, as Mariam said, nobody take it serious and nobody really study it, which is a pity because the new generation that is coming are horrible. Like they will be taught by a teacher who never ever know anything about the anatomy or never ever know anything about really the body. He just dance for a while and then he will become a teacher.
Okay.
So it really put the kids in a place that, first of all, they don't understand what they do. They are not in a good body condition because they don't understand their body. They don't do warm up. And as well, they are really, weak educated. So for me is because I started as that. So giving them the opportunity, first of all, to have a really high education dancing, first of all, and having a qualified staff that can deal with all kind of problems that can occur at the moment. Being able to be, to feel at home in this kind of location, being able to discuss, compose, and all of that at the end will be put in on stage and people will start feeling and knowing what you know. So every year we have a exchanging event that we will put all our work with the kids and the kids' work and the group work on the stage. And people will be just coming, watching small kids from the age of 4 to the age of 60 years old, old ladies, going on stage and performing and being who they are. So this is what I believe and I love to do, and it's my small baby. And I hope I can do that, and my coming is doing the same center in the old city, not only being in this school but also to have this kind of another opportunity for these kids, not only having Dabkeh and not being for the age of the school, to be the age of all the people and all the youth who are living in the old city and are not having this kind of opportunity.
As a dancer, you have few opportunities in Jerusalem, not so much.
As a dancer, yeah.
Yeah, I know you can travel, but did you already think about leaving the country to have a bigger career?
No, to be honest. I never thought, and I would never at the moment, let's say. But I don't think I can, because I had many opportunities, to be honest, when I finished studying dance. I had opportunity from London Contemporary Dance School to dance with Richard Austin over there, and I had also different kind of work outside to do. But I wasn't able really to manage living outside because I'm as a fish. So the moment I really go out of Palestine, I really suffer. And I feel no meaning doing anything over there. Because for me, as I said, dancing, I do dancing not because I love dancing. I love the passion that it brings to me and the meaning that I can really communicate. I wasn't ever a person of language. any language I learned, I was struggling in it. The only place I was comfortable talking about me and who I am and what my pain and my happiness, it was dancing through movement. And I was kind of expressing. So it was always my language. So being outside and representing any case that it doesn't relate to me in a way, for me, I don't feel it. And I don't feel this passion again. So that's why I'm in Palestine, because I feel I have bigger meaning and I can really talk about who I am and really affect the people and see the effect on them and having this kind of discussions and change. So this is what really means to me. So
it's more important for you to have this mission and this meaning
Yeah.
than your ego and your own career.
I think so, yes. Because for me, I don't dance for dance. I dance for emotion and I dance for connecting and I dance for sending who I am to the people. So
You could do it abroad.
To a limit, because like when I started dancing with Richard Austin, the subject that we were discussing, it wasn't me. You know, it was kind of what it's called, I think, metropolitan city. It was like other issues that, okay guys, we cannot talk about rubbish and having people killed in my home. I can totally understand this is their biggest issue, like talking about environment, whatever, which is really important. But for me, like, you know, like every day I'm struggling at the checkpoint and being thrown tear gas and kids are killed. And then...
Yeah, and I mean, having the... Sorry. I
No,
think
no.
this is a good thing. No, but as well to know that your families are at home and maybe risking life or something could happen to them, it's always a big issue for you. And as well to have the feeling to lose the ground under the feet and not knowing if when you come back your house is still there. It's really crazy.
So yeah, basically. So yeah, I just find myself more at home, more useful, let's say.
And Angela?
I always wonder if I want to leave the country. Like sometimes I just feel like maybe I want to leave, but it's also like it's a debate. Like my parents would tell me, like, do you like? Okay, I'm gonna pull back. Not my parents. It's like if I wanna live back home. Or if I want to leave, like as a person, as a personality, I just like see myself living outside, like abroad. But at the same time, like thinking about it, I really don't want to leave back home because, as they said, you can never know if it will be there or not. And I would like to have my I don't want to leave there. So yeah, I see myself living abroad, but it's hard for me to actually do it and leave because that's my land, and it's not like something. It's peace. Like you can get back whenever you want. Because if it's gone, someday something could happen. I cannot come back.
Yeah.
So that's what like. So
Make you think twice about it.
Yeah.
So Hanna, Angela, Zein, and Miriam, thank you so much.
Thank you
for this moment. I hope your
really
message,
enjoyed it.
I hope your message will arrive to our listener. You say listener? To our listener.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.